Even in the smallest vacuum of the format, tier elements is still crazy represented. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more Oz content. We have a relatively interesting OCG tournament here that I wanted to cover, just to kind of show, like, in a smaller vacuum-sized event, what you're going to be looking at here. So, a quick little breakdown for this. We had 6 tier, 2 Kashtira, 2 Flounder, and 2 Exorcist with 2 Labyrinth. All of those are going to be pretty much your more represented decks in the OCG, to be honest with you. More of what we're used to seeing. We also had 2 Thunder Dragons, with 1 Runic, 1 Thurion, 1 Scareclaw. We had a Cleafort player. Okay, I don't know what you're doing playing Cleafort out here, but alright. We also had 1 Danger Kaiju Luna, and we had a Rika list. So let that all sink in there for your generalized representation for the overall event, that you had 6 tier players pushing it to 26% representation, and with all of the diversity present in this format, that you can kind of mess around with in the rogue category. You got a lot of option trees that you can mess around with here. Now, as we move on along here, your top 8, this is where I pretty much expect things to be. You had half of your tier elements pushing into top cut. Not shocked there at all, nor should you be, considering that we already know, like, how that deck is going to turn out to be such a crazy monster for it. We also had 2 Kashtira. No, wait a minute. There were only 2 Kashtira players in the whole tournament, and both of them topped. Man, that's a crazy good conversion rate of whatever existed. Alright. We also had 2 Flaunderies players. Remember, Flaunderies in the OCG has a little bit different of issues that it has to deal with versus your standard metagame, which is perfectly understandable. And the Scareclaw guy got through. Alright, so interesting. Honestly, that's the kind of conversion rate I want to see. I want to see, you know, Scareclaw getting through as your rogue pick. This is going to kind of remind you a little bit of, like, the OCG side of things. Winning the event here is going to be none other than good old Kashtira, actually. So, best things, you're going to know what to do with this deck. You're going to make a Rise Heart, and you're going to go kick, 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 kick at your opponent as you're an anime villain, and Macrocosmos overtaking the game state here. The OCG also has access to, you know, Tomahawk out here, so the fact that they have a rank 7 literal villain spaceship that creates this massive vacuum of tokens feels good. I will say that I also find it hilarious that this deck was playing Forbidden Lance in it. If you think that your opponent's going to try to do anything mean to you whatsoever with any sort of traps that might be an issue, just go ahead and activate, you know, good old Forbidden Lance. And go ahead and protect your card. You don't have to worry about your opponent being a meanie weenie to you. It's not really that big of a deal at the end of the day. So, pretty easy stuff there for sure. Nothing else really too crazy to say about first place here. Now, second place, oh wow, it's the Remnants of a Shizu tier. We're playing triple Scream in this bad boy. All right. Triple Mudora with 1 Keldo. Oh man, how the mighty have fallen. Now keep in mind that they still do play, you know, Fenrir in the deck, because the value that Fenrir gets is absolutely amazing. And then, of course, you know, you have your Splash, good old Kashtira, you know, tier elements card. This deck will be milling to the extreme. Honestly, with the hits that this deck has had, I'm very happy to see that it still functions. Side deck down here, we do have our extra by Steel package, because the new guy giving you the ability to spot removal by tributing something else is wild. And then I see that we are playing the triple book. So remember, the reason why Book of Eclipse sees play in this format is that way that you can shut down their monsters, and you're like, oh, I'm getting extra deck, or I'm losing all my zones. Nope, not anymore. Alright, third place here was our other tier elements deck. Now, you will see some pretty interesting changes here. We've cut Fenrir down to 2 for this build. We've shifted down to 2 Mudora with 1 Keldo. So the former value that you got off of the Ishizu package, because this deck is way higher in representation, you can definitely see that there's been a rollback here in terms of the numbers for that. This build is also playing 2 Scream, which is pretty standard, honestly. I love the fact that 1 Croissant Designator is going to be your value tree. And then, of course, we're siding good old Ghost Reaper. And as you see down here, We have mind controls to move things out of the way that the opponent might be setting up. And Book of Eclipse yet again. Pretty standard list, man. Like, for what these decks line up and do, nothing really changes all that much. Then we have End Pen Control. So OCG Flounder's in a much rougher position out here because they get one field spell and only the one. Alright, so these builds also double M-Pen, double Mega Ryza. We're not playing, we are playing the Apex Avion as well. Holy moly. I feel like that's an extra layer of brick. We are also only get 2 D-Shifter because D-Shifter is semi-limited in the OCG. And we are main decking 2-Dimensional Fissure. I love the fact that Di-Fi is at 3 in the OCG, and this is like the counter-argument to why the card's going to be broken in the TCG, but like, let's be honest here, if the card is at like full power and it's not even like seeing massive play, that's definitely something. We're citing double Ghost Reaper and Dark Simorgh. Maybe having the third Reaper would feel a little bit better, but I don't know if you get room for it. I feel like the Dark Simorgh's value tree for Rogue is just more important. Next up here is another Tier Elements deck. Wow, 5th place all the way down here. So, big things to note out of this. We are main decking 1 Book of Eclipse. We are only playing 1 Book of Eclipse. Okay, we're not even citing the other. We are citing little kaijus, though, so if our opponent tries to get really cheeky and try to give us something that doesn't necessarily settle well with our game plan, we can actually kaiju it away. That's actually beautiful. The kaijus, having not seen a lot of play for a while, is good. And you're seeing that Dark World tech there as well that we recently started talking about. It is kind of nice seeing that, you know, King of the Swamp is getting the chance to find a place in this deck. I mean, you tech in 2 cards into your Tier Elements deck and you get access to a big, scary, wary Guafa. Yeah, everything else for this deck looks pretty straightforward, all things considered. I love how easy Tier is to build. Next up is Kashtira. So Kashtira won the event and got 6th place as well. Big things about this list. We are playing the Scareclaw guy in here. We are also playing the other extender as well. We are playing double Lava Golem. Lava Golem does kind of give this deck the chance to kind of stand out on its own a little bit more. I understand, I suppose, the want and reason to play that. I also see that we are playing double Birth in here as well, instead of the standard 3. So, nice little rollback there on those numbers. We're citing 1 Big Ball, that's fine, and then 2 Book of Eclipse for the board-breaking options. Yeah, I don't really see anything else too crazy that sticks out to me about this, but this looks like a standard day in the office out here for Kashtira, honestly. The big Cyberse Adagnister guy is hilarious to actually see come up. Next up here we have our other Flounderies list. Now, your big difference between this, we're not playing the Apex Avion. We're on double M-Pen, double Mega Ryza. And we are actually main decking the triple Dimensional Fissure and 2 Macrocosmo. Holy anti-meta Batman. And of course, they still get to do some Morg into the Barrier Statue. Quite hilarious that the OCG lets them get away with that, and that hasn't been checked yet. But we're also main decking 2 Book of Eclipse and 2 Book of Moon as well. So if we think that our opponent is going to do anything that is going to be a problem, you have a lot of answers to be able to handle this. I also think it's interesting, we're also only playing 2 of the Advent of Adventure. Maybe they just didn't have room for it, or they opted to play the other Macrocosmo, but I think that that's a little bit strange at the end of the day. But interesting take also for this deck, citing the other Stormwind as well. Alright, I see what you're doing here. And then the last list we have here is our Scareclaw Kashtira deck. Oh boy. This is actually kind of nice to see. So, other little side notes for this. The Scareclaw package gives this deck... Honestly, the Scareclaw package gives a lot of uniqueness to the metagame right now. Tryhard's a really good card. Like, honestly, that card will ruin days if you're not prepared for it. And as you can definitely see here, getting the chance to, you know, have in-house synergy, disrupt the opponent, it's all good stuff for what you're aiming to do here. So nothing really too out of left field, I feel like, for the hybrid build. So what do you guys think about everything out of this event? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patron. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.